Hey, welcome back to another edition of the Friday Show, brought to you this week by Icon Global, who has a call for offers out this coming up at the Adena Springs farm in Paris, Kentucky. Joe, tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, the Adena Springs property, Frank Stronach didn't cheap out on anything when it came to building this. This is the home that was the home of stallions like Awesome Again, Ghost Sapper. They raised so many great horses on this property. It's for sale. Call for offers started on March 28th, going through the middle of May. This is a great opportunity to get onto a very proven piece of property for raising great thoroughbreds.
Thanks, Joe, and thanks to Icon Global for that. We're pleased to be joined this week by Jareth Loveberry, who is coming off a big win in the Jeff Ruby Stakes at Turfway Park aboard Two Phils. Welcome to the Friday Show, Jareth, and apologies for the background noise here.
No,
I'm going to try to go on mute, but I've
it.
got some construction going on.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So you're looking at your past performances. You've kind of been all over the place geographically, but mainly you've been a mainstay in Chicago, which no longer has a long stretch of summer racing. So you've been at the fairgrounds. Where do you go from here?
This year I'm going to be taking my chances with Kentucky. So I'll be going to Keeneland here next week and Churchill this spring.
Good. And then, we mentioned Chicago, but can you just go over a rough list of the other points on the map you've touched? And we were going over your Equibase stats beforehand, and you've ridden at some tracks.
Yeah, a lot of traveling and moving, starting in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Then I went out west a little bit to Oklahoma, Arkansas, Minnesota, made my way back to the Midwest to Chicago about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And that obviously gives, you've ridden bull rings, you've ridden synthetic tracks, you've ridden, pretty much any track configuration. How does all of that experience that you've taken bring you to here? What are some of the things that you've learned from there that has brought you to, taking Two Phils to a place like, hopefully the Kentucky Derby very soon?
Well, not just the tracks, but just a bunch of different riders and finding out a bunch of different ways to ride and just learning from everybody. I always tell everybody you can learn from everybody. People that are winning 6,000 races to people that are winning 500 races. It's just, you just pay attention. Everybody knows how to win. So it's just, you kind of pick different things up from different people.
Jareth, you just suffered an injury before the stakes at Turfway Park. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I had a gait incident, and horse came back and landed on my leg as I was trying to get out, and I had a small hairline fracture in my fibula.
Mm-hmm. And technically, is the leg still broken right now? Like, I know that broken bones take time to heal. Like, are you I know you're set to ride, obviously, but is it still kind of healing? Or
so I had an X-ray a week after it happened, and they really couldn't even see it anymore, and that's when they released me back to riding. It really was a small hairline, and I took a bunch of calcium and a bunch of things to try to help increase the healing process, and went back, got X-rays a week later, and they couldn't even find it.
Mm-hmm.
So Two Phils won over the synthetic surface at Turfway Park. It was his first time racing over synthetics. I guess he had worked on the track previously. Right. What's the difference in your mind? Because you have a lot of experience racing at Arlington Park on the old poly track up there.
Right.
What's the difference from a rider's perspective when you're riding on a synthetic track? Is there any difference between that and the conventional dirt track?
Not necessarily. In my opinion, you ride the horse, not the track. So it's just if the horse is handling it or not necessarily the track surface itself.
And Two Phils obviously handled it.
Oh yeah, he was just gliding right across it, and it didn't impede him at all.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that trip a little bit. You were wide throughout a lot of that, but clearly you had plenty of horse. When did you know, okay, we're going to make the move, we're going to go, and we're going to just knock the doors off of everyone here? When did that light come on for you?
When I was sitting about the half mile pole, I actually had the three in front of me, and I had him covered up well. And I kind of took a peek to the inside and saw the one, and I just kind of was like, okay, let me just kind of stay in shot of him, and he was just moving up, and about the 5/16, I just kind of gave him just a little chirp, and I had so much left, and I just kind of followed the one.
Mm-hmm. And when you're clear like that, what are you thinking about? What's going through your mind?
I was just like, just keep him focused, because a couple times last year, I mean, he was still a 2-year-old, but he would make the lead and you'd kind of look, but in the Jeff Ruby, he just really just focused and finished the last 8th mile like we wanted him to.
Mm-hmm. And you've been on this horse since his second start.
Correct. I was working him before he ever ran at Churchill also. So I've been on him since last April or May.
When did you get high on the horse? And when did you start thinking this is a little bit better than the average horse I've been riding?
It actually, in the Keeneland race in the Breeders' Cup for Futurity, I think that was the name of it. That race actually is the one that it clicked for me. Even though he did get beat and he finished 7th, the way he did it and the way he felt underneath me, I'm like, no, he just got tired. His first time going a mile 16th against Grade 1 competition. I like him more now. I called Larry right after it. I said, Larry, I like him more now. He's much better than we thought going into the race. We liked him, but that race showed me that he could be a better horse.
Mm-hmm. Now, Jareth, you and I we have quite a bit of history together. You rode my grandpa's horses back at Great Lakes Downs way, way back in the day. So I've seen you ride some very cheap horses. And, to have a horse that's on the Kentucky Derby trail like this, I'm always curious to ask jockeys, what is the difference between that big time Saturday afternoon Derby trail horse and a Thursday afternoon horse? Like, from your vantage point, from sitting in the saddle, what's different between these two horses? What's separating them?
The way they move over the track. Every time working this horse, he really does. He glides. He just does it effortlessly, and you don't have to really keep his attention. He knows what he's doing. He knows his job, and he's just effortlessly doing it.
This is one of the greatest horse farms built in modern racing history.
The way this farm was developed makes it a premier facility to raise a horse.
It has 20 horse barns. It has 25 homes for employees.
You appreciate the fact that he took a blank canvas and developed it to one of the finest horse farms in all of America.
Yeah, so getting back to Great Lakes Downs, a track I've never been to. At what point did you say, I think someday I'll be in the Kentucky Derby, or I'll have a chance to be in the Kentucky Derby? Or is that, as a young jockey at a small track like that, is that the dream? Is that, what do you, what's the mentality of a jockey at a track like that to just kind of getting started?
I don't know. I always just strive to be myself and be the best I could be. I don't know if I ever said, oh, that's what I have to have. I just kept working, kept striving to be the best person, best rider I could be myself.
Mm-hmm. And from there, you've certainly climbed the ladder, had a heck of a meet at the fairgrounds this year.
Thank you.
Was this your first year riding at the fairgrounds?
My second.
Second.
Year.
What brought you down? What took you down there in the first place? What was kind of the impetus behind that?
I was at Oaklawn for 9 years, and my business kind of was tailing off there, and I had a couple of really good summers at Chicago. Mm-hmm. And Steve Leving kind of talked me into going down to fairgrounds, and had some connections with Fauché, and just kind of gravitated down there.
Mm-hmm. You had mentioned all the traveling and stuff that
right.
goes on when you're a jockey that doesn't have a single circuit where you can sleep in your own bed all the time. That's got to be really difficult, right? For a family person, especially.
Yeah, it makes it really difficult. That's why, the strongest person in our house is my wife. She's really held everything together. And yeah, well, these two kids right here. And it really is. It's a whole family. We're in it all together, and she's been there with me since I started.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of the questions here have been about just sort of the relationships that have, gotten you to where you are. And obviously one of the big ones over the last, several years has been between you and Larry Rivelli.
Right.
Can you talk about that partnership, how you two first sort of got linked up, how, you became sort of his regular rider, and how, that's gone forward from there?
So I started riding for him at Mountaineer, I think in 2010 or 11. It was around that time. And he would ship horses to Mountaineer, and he was friends with my agent, John Costanzo, at the time. And it really started from there. He got a couple stake horses, Ohio breds, that I rode. And I rode from 4 years in Mountaineer in Ohio. And then when I went to Oklahoma, we kind of split apart because he didn't run in that area. And in 2019, when the gaming bill passed in Illinois and I was leaving my area in Canterbury, it just kind of connected again. I got a hold of some people in Chicago area, says, hey, I think come this way. Got a hold of Larry. He's like, you hook up with Steve Leving, you ride everything for me. And it just kicked right back off from where we started.
You mentioned that the year the gaming bill passed. Did you assume that things were going to get better in Chicago when that happened?
Yeah, especially because I bought a house here in 2020. So,
jeez.
Yeah, I think we all kind of thought that was going to help Chicago racing, and as it turns out, it didn't work out too well. Yeah. So you scouted the competition a little bit. Who
I'm watching races every week.
You've seen Forte.
Oh, beautiful.
Close up in the Breeders' Futurity when you rode against him last fall.
Yeah.
Is he the horse to beat right now, you think?
He's really good looking. I watched his replays. I was watching him yesterday, and he's a good looking animal, and we'll see how he does on Saturday. But right now he does look like the one to beat.
Mm-hmm. And who else sort of has your eye amongst the contenders?
A chestnut colt named Two Phils.
Good answer.
That's a very good answer. What are the plans for Two Phils between now and the first Saturday in May?
I really don't know. Larry's keeps stuff pretty close to the vest.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, Jareth, we appreciate you taking the time and putting up with my background noise here. Thanks to Icon Global for their sponsorship of the Friday Show. We want to wish you the best, not just with Two Phils, but your new circuit in Kentucky this year. So
thank you very much.
And thanks for joining us this week on the Friday Show.
Thank you.
Support award-winning independent horse industry journalism and become a Pollock Report Insider on Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, insiders get access to exclusive Q&As with Pollock Report staff, insight behind our editorial process, exclusive opinions and on-site analysis, Pollock Report merch, and more. This is not a paywall. The website you know and love will always be the same. But if you want more, and you want to make our coverage even better, visit patreon.com/Pollock Report and become a Pollock Report Insider today.